What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Momentum. This is number 164 coming at you live 8:40 p.m. here in Arizona. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a wonderful Thursday. Tomorrow's freaking Friday, so finishing off the week strong. If you guys been following me along and doing the things that we talk about and just taking action and being consistent, hopefully you've been logging in your journal. If you have the productivity planners, the one that I use, whatever one that you decide to journal in. I even have like a separate one here that I write in. So hopefully you guys are taking action, making shit happen. It's the most important thing, right? I think we talked about, changing your identity, figuring out where you want to go, who you want to be. What does that person look like? The version of you, the 2.0, living your dreams. Like what is it? Is it a nice house? Is it nice things? Is it having a family? Is it having kids or impacting others? Like, what is that thing? Have that identity. What is that person doing right now? Are they making excuses or sitting down and watching Netflix? If you want to make $1 million and you're chilling watching TV, maybe that's not the right move, right? Maybe you should be trying to figure out how you can get better. If you guys are watching this, I know you're here to get better. Today, we're talking about my favorite script. Now, this is what our cold callers use. If you watch stuff on my channel, you've seen me pull up this script before, but for all you newcomers, I would love to break this one down and kind of the psychology behind it. And of course, if you want a copy of this script, if you want to get this and use it in your business, whether it's you cold calling or your VA's cold calling, I'm happy to give it to you. All you do is send me an email, mattbeard@startvirtual.com, and hopefully comment on this video too. And as always, guys, like as we get rocking and rolling here, if you get any value from any of the videos, maybe you're like, I don't know about this dude yet, but let me watch this video. And you get value from it and you watch to the end. You're like, okay, that was pretty decent, right? Head over to the YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. I'd be grateful for you. So anyways, guys, let's get rocking and rolling. I'm going to be breaking down the script here today. Again, this is what our VAs use. I'm going to share my screen and kind of show you guys what this looks like. And again, happy to give this to you. First and foremost, I want to break down something that maybe some of you guys have seen before, maybe some of you guys haven't. This is called the Sandler Submarine. You can literally type it into Google. You can pull this up. This is what our sales people use, like our lead managers and our acquisition reps. So everyone in our business that is, oh, there we go. That looks cooler. Everyone in our business that is in like a sales kind of position, this is what they use. Okay. We follow the Sandler sales training method simply because it's a great systematic way to approach sales. Like the thing about sales is interesting is like, it's tough because everybody has their own way of communicating. And ultimately, as your people get better, as you get better and you start managing other people, you realize like, hey, we all communicate the same thing a little bit different, right? So, the way, for example, the way Pace closes, the way that he goes about doing it is his own unique way of doing it. And the way that I go about talking to people, right, is my own unique way of doing it. So before we even go into breaking down particular scripts and saying this is what my cold callers use, this is what my lead managers use, and all these other things, the one today you guys are going to look at is like our initial outbound script. Ultimately, the thing that I try to reiterate to my VAs and everyone that is in the company, it's like, dude, make this your own. Okay. This is the backbone, right? This is the blueprint for having a great conversation. Right. So if you ever get off on a tangent with a lead, has any of you guys ever had like a long conversation with a lead? You're like, oh my gosh, got to reel it back in. Right. You have the script, you have the idea. It's like, okay, I forgot. I don't have this yet. Right. We base the script off our 4 pillars. You guys familiar with 4 pillars? If you're in here, you're watching, what's our 4 pillars? Love to see you guys comment on that. So it's price. Okay. It's condition, it's motivation, and it's timeline. Those are our 4 things. So ultimately, the script is built around getting that information. Literally, when our virtual assistant submits a lead to our lead managers and our acquisition team, and I'll show you guys maybe in a later video how all that flows. But within that lead profile, not just the notes of, hey, John wants to sell his property. He has a dog named Pickles and they want $10,000 for this piece of land, like whatever. Like we also include the 4 pillars. So again, the reason why I want to show you guys the sales submarine, the Sandler sales submarine, it's like maybe you're struggling talking to sellers at a higher level, or maybe you're struggling teaching your virtual assistants to have better, more meaningful conversations. It works better when you have like a system in place. So the cool thing about our VAs that are cold calling, they don't really need to do much other than have one quality conversation. Just get those 4 pillars and understand how our company makes money, right? And by me breaking down the script, like I'm going to break it down for you guys here today, you will see, and your virtual assistants will see, like, oh, well, this is a lead, or maybe this isn't a lead. Okay. But ultimately, the cool thing about cold calling is they don't have to go through all these steps, but our salespeople do. And when it comes to sales training, I highly recommend the Sandler Submarine. So, with that being said, let's pull up the cold calling script. So, this is the script that we use, guys. See if I can pull it up, make it bigger on my screen. Okay. This is our script. This is something that we have made kind of. I had Maggie, our design girl. She made it look pretty. So shout out Maggie. If you guys in the comment section want to shout out Maggie, because if you want to get a copy of this, Maggie is the one that made it look really cool. So ultimately, what we want to do on a cold call, there's a couple key points. Like I'll leave the reading line by line stuff to you guys, but there's a couple key points that I want to take note of here, and I want to make sure that you do the same when you make these phone calls. Okay. Number one is you want to, of course, confirm you're talking to the right person. What we don't do is we don't say, "Hey, is this John?" It's a good chance that if we have the wrong number, I don't want to insult anyone. And there's a good chance that we do have the right address, but we're talking to the wrong person on the phone. Okay. We are just going to say, "Hey, my name is blank. I was hoping to speak with the owners of address." Because if we had the wrong number, great. We'll ask, "Do you have any other properties you'd be interested in selling?" But by not mentioning a name, we leave that door open to saying, well, maybe we got the husband, maybe we got the wife, maybe we got the uncle, maybe we got the aunt, maybe we got the kids, whatever. We leave that door open. Okay. Okay, great. I'm with Direct Home Buyers, and I wanted to give you a quick call to see if you're possibly consider selling this property. Right? A lot of you guys understand we do not give our company name in this initial call for obvious reasons. We're cold calling. Typically, when people say, what's your company name?" Right? That's when they're going to be filing a complaint. So typically, we shy away from doing that just because, like, prefer not to have those nice letters come in the mail. And guys, don't be afraid because that comes with the territory. Okay. Um, so, of course, when it comes to cold calling at all, as always, guys, you want to make sure you do it on the up and up, and you call people that are not on the national do not call list. But if you just keep in mind, if you do that, you're not going to have that many people to call. So, use your own discretion. With that being said, now, let's go into the best part of the script. I think there's the major points here. Now, if you find someone who's interested in selling, I think it's so important, this part right here where it says this is going to take longer than this shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes, but we're setting the table saying that, yo, this is going to take some time. Okay. I am going to need about 5 minutes of your time. We are understanding in the cold call, you're interrupting their day. They're not expecting your call. They weren't saying, I was really waiting for, VA Marie to give me a call today. So, they're totally not expecting our call. So with that cold call, we want to be respectful and courteous of their time. This is going to take about 5 minutes. How does that sound? Right? If they have 5 minutes, awesome. Because what happens is if you don't set the table, by the time you get to the third, fourth, or fifth question here, right? The prospect's going to get frustrated. Prospect's going to be like, "Yo, what is going on? What are you talking?" No, like, and the next thing you know, they end up being frustrated and hang up the call. So we set the table, let them know it's going to be about 5 minutes. If they don't have 5 minutes, we'll call them back. Now, let's get into the actual property condition, which is what? This is one of our 4 pillars. Okay. Major questions here is, like, you can go through and you can make this a survey call. That's what I call them when I read a lot of these scripts, and it's like nothing but questions, 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 questions. The idea is you need that prospect to call, and we still need to build rapport. Like you guys saw in the first little block of the Sandler's Submarine, we still need to build rapport, but we don't build rapport by being cheesy. We don't build rapport by being, "Oh my gosh, dude, have you seen what the Dodgers are doing right now?" Right? You don't build rapport by doing that. We've already pattern interrupted them. We already interrupted them in their day. They weren't expecting our call. So we got their attention. So it's important that we don't just rattle off and just ask a bunch of survey questions like, "Oh, what's the condition of your property?" And you can hear like the keyboard in the background. And your roof and AC, what's that like? Right? You hear the keyboard in the background. Typically, what I find is a lot of like newer investors or people who aren't completely comfortable with folks who aren't completely comfortable making phone calls. They typically really, really, really go in on the property condition because they're like, oh my gosh, someone's answered. I'm afraid I'm going to mess this up. I'm afraid I'm going to mess this up. So don't let that stop you. Don't ask too many questions about the property because it does not really matter. When we do our numbers, when we calculate our offers, we're already really assuming that the property needs a bunch of work or it needs quite a bit. Okay. We need that property to discount. So understanding the high ticket items are important, but ultimately we accomplish all those other survey style questions within that first question here. So on a scale of 1 to 10, one being unsuitable to live in and 10 being recently remodeled, what would you say the general condition of the property is? Right. And what's going to happen is they're going to be like 8, 9, 6, whatever. Right. I'd say it's a 6. I'd say it's a 7. Okay. Right. So what does your VA say to that? Right. So if they say, oh, it's a 7, my VAs are trained. 7, like with a question inflection, just like that. Oh, okay, 7, just like that. And then what does that do? It leaves them to justify their answer. Okay. They're like, well, yeah, because I did this, 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 and blah, 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 and I did blah, 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 and I'm going to, right. They're going, oh, my property's the best. The value's not in the property, it's on the land, whatever, right? But they're open to the conversation to talk more. Got it, right? So then, of course, you can ask these questions. Won't typically, I'm like, I'll leave that to my VA's discretion. If they feel like they want to do it, just don't turn it into a survey, right? Then it's important we find out, is there anyone living in the property? Okay, I don't really care about the rent thing here, but it's there just in case the VAs do want to ask, especially if the tenants are on a like a long term lease. That question is important. Like, how much does it typically rent for? Like, how much you have it rented out for right now? Now, the final question here is there anything else that we should know about the property? No, I think you got everything you need, blah, blah, blah. I said, got it. Well, I mean, it seems like a really nice place, John or Susie or whoever, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. What's got you thinking about selling it this time? Right. So we're asking what and how questions is open-ended to try to get that motivation. Right. It's like, well, you call me, blah, blah, blah. And whatever their reason may be. I said, really? Well, how long you guys been thinking about selling it then? Well, again, you guys called us and I guess it just has to work with the price and stuff. Well, whatever it might be. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's super interesting because I mean, there's a ton of buyers in the market right now, and there's no I mean, that's obviously a thing, right? So typically what I say to sellers and even on the cold call is like, look, we understand that there's no shortage of buyers. There's no shortage of people that are giving you calls. I guarantee this is probably the 8th call like this you've received today. And they're like, yeah, blah, and we'll have a little laugh about it. So we address the elephant in the room. We know we're not the only ones. So, why not? Let's talk about it. So, I mean, if other people are calling you in the back of my mind, and that's why I train my VAs to think too. So in the back of my mind, if I'm talking to someone who's interested in selling, they probably had the same conversation with probably 4 or 5, 6 other people by the time we got them on the phone. And that also tells me either number one, people aren't willing to pay their price, or number two, people really suck at follow up, right? Which is it's normally number one. Typically, folks, if they've already talked to quite a few people, typically their price is a little too high. But whatever, let's keep going, right? So once we get that question in there, it's like, okay, we'll dig a little bit deeper. So how long you guys been thinking about selling? Got it. So, I mean, if you guys do decide to sell, I know this is something maybe that, like, let's just say they just decided, like, last couple of weeks we thought maybe it'd be good to just to find another place and get a retirement home, like whatever it might be. So got it. Well, if you guys do decide to sell, you wouldn't want to sell in the next 30 days, would you? Right. So we'll do that negative inflection on that. It's important, right? I train the VAs to do that negative inflection because we want them to correct us. We want the prospect to be engaged in the conversation enough to be like, well, yeah, if we get our price, we'd sell within the next 30 days. Okay, awesome. Well, what number did you guys have in mind for the place, like in its current condition? Right. So hopefully at this point, if I've built enough rapport and they trust me enough, like in these early stages, that we've had a little laugh here and there. We've addressed the other buyers in the market and all this other stuff. Look, we don't want to waste your time. I know you got plenty of other things you could be doing right now other than being on the call with me. So number one, I appreciate you. But if we're going to work together on this, what number do we need to be at to make this work? Right. So there's so many different ways you can get this asking price, but realistically, if that motivation is there with a prospect, you should have no problem getting this part. Okay. Now, if they give a price, yes or no, we do set the table. So if yes, okay, got it. Well, since we're covering all the costs to sell, You can say, "Is that the best you can do?" Which is crazy. Some of you guys would be like, "Why would you ask that question after they gave you your price?" You would be surprised how many times someone says, "Oh, I take, well, we're hoping to get 220." And then as soon as we say that line, "Well, since we're going to cover all the closing costs and be no fees and commissions, is that the best number that you guys can do?" Well, maybe we can do like 210, 205. They literally just dropped 10, $15,000 off their price just by asking the question again. So ultimately, don't be afraid of this part here. Even though it may seem like, well, why do they do that? It's important. I promise you, you'll be able to get price drops like this super duper quick. So, if yes or no, whatever, if they give us a price and we feel like maybe it's a little too high, or if they give us a price, but the motivation's there, we still set the table for the possibility of terms. A lot of you guys ask, like, well, how do you guys talk about terms? Right? How do you guys bring that up in the conversation? So we say, well, look, we understand that cash honestly isn't the right fit for just about everybody. We know sometimes cash won't work. And honestly, I know, like you said, you're talking to five, six, seven other people a day wanting to buy your house. And that just tells me can't nobody pay you enough. All these cash offers are coming in low. Does that sound about right? Yeah, everybody wants to give me pennies for my property. I want more money than that. Got it. So, look, this is what we do. Typically, yes, we buy properties with cash, but if cash, like a cash offer won't fit, right? If we can't pay your number or we can't come up to that amount, would you be open to looking at other selling options? Say, yeah, well, what do you mean by other selling options? Well, great. We buy properties in two different ways. First is that cash offer, plain and simple, straightforward. Now, if cash won't work for both of us, another way we can pay you is what maybe we can pay close to your asking price, maybe even a little bit more. Just has to be on terms. Would you be open to something like that? Right. So typically, babe, what do you mean by terms? We defer that to our property specialist. So it's like, yeah, no worries. Typically, our property specialist could take some time with you, maybe within the next hour or whenever's best for you. I know you've already spent some time with me here today. Whenever's best for you, maybe we can get back on a call and kind of dig a little bit deeper and figure out what those terms may look like. Would that work for you? Right. So they always defer it to the property specialist. Very important. And once we get to that part, if there's a mortgage, liens, we want to find that out too, because if we're going to be structuring a creative deal, I need to know if there's a mortgage in place. I need to know if there's liens on the property, because it's going to change the way that I structure it, right? Because if it's got a high, if they want 220 and they owe 200, okay, maybe it's sub two. If they want 220 and they own it free and clear, maybe that's creative finance. If they want 220 and it's worth 320, that's a cash deal. But if they want 220 and that's what it's worth and they owe 100, then maybe that's a cash out refi and we take over the payment sub too. So look, there's so many different ways to structure a deal, but a lot of it is based on do they have a mortgage or they don't? Will the property cash flow or it won't? That's really it. So again, we have multiple tools in our tool belt, but by gathering this information on the first call, we can start strategizing by the time our lead managers and our acquisition reps call based on what that particular situation may be, right? That's why our conversion rates are pretty good because it's not all cash. Sometimes sub two, sometimes creative, sometimes it's a hybrid between the two. Maybe it's a cash out refi sub two, maybe it's a hotel, maybe it's a subject to hotel, maybe it's a subject to flip. Look, so many different things we can begin structuring just by getting the right information here. So again, to recap this script, guys, we're getting everything we need. We got condition, we got motivation, which is the major one. Like if my VAs don't get anything else, if you can just give me some motivation, I can get everything else I need. I can get the timeline. I can get the asking price. I can gather the condition any point in time. But if you can give me a lead and you just show that they have some motivation, they're interested to sell, not just someone who's hoping to get an offer, have no interest in talking to those people, right? No interest. But for the folks that are, yes, they're definitely wanting to sell. They're just trying to figure out what they want to do. They don't know if they should go get it appraised and go list it with an agent. Let me talk to that person because maybe we can figure out something that will work for both of us. And then worst case, we'll refer it to an agent of ours. So again, guys, it's all about monetizing these opportunities, but it all starts with getting great motivation. But we get all of our four pillars in the script and it freaking works. It converts. We don't say yes to every lead. Okay. We don't say yes to every lead. We don't just assume, whatever. Like as the lead comes in, we got our 4 pillars, and it's missing the motivation, and the asking price is $20,000 over retail. We won't just say yes to those. We don't get those in our podio because it wastes our time. It wastes our sales team time. And a lot of us, like especially getting started, we don't have that many leads to work. So we're trying to salvage deals out of leads that are just garbage. There's no motivation. I promise you, the faster you can move on and focus on the next one, number one, it makes your life a lot better. You'll be a lot more happy rather than counting all the ones that didn't work. It's just like, let me find that other one. Let's go work on another one. Because every time I get a text, literally it feels like every day where something's blowing up on a deal and we have to go fix it. I'm not worried about it because we're working on another one. We have another 5, we have another 6, we have another 7 in the pipeline. Right. So you have to get to that point. And if you can keep that mentality of, hey, I only want to accept the best leads. I don't care about quantity. I care about quality so I can make sure my time is best spent talking with people that deserve my time, right? You should be asking yourself what prospects deserve your time. Should be a very small amount. And those are the people you should be focusing on. Okay. So, guys, if you want to copy my script, happy to give it to you. Just send me an email, mattbeard@startvirtual.com. Happy to give that to you and send that right over. But guys, I hope you got some value from this video today. That is our script that we use for our cold callers. I'll break down our lead manager script in a different video. And also I just worked on our brand new lead flow for our business as we're bringing in a couple different new lead sources now. And I can't wait to break down that flow chart with you guys. It's going to be pretty intense, but hopefully you got some value from the video today. If you did, as always, head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.